What's going on, everybody? David here, back with another video. So today we're going to take a quick look at Steven Mnuchin. So this is going to be a stimulus package update. And it's interesting because Steven Mnuchin asked the Federal Reserve to return some of the money that they had allocated for some of these different programs, loan programs for businesses. And so he caught some flack for this. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the clip. And he's kind of trying to clean this up, basically. And we'll take a look at it. We'll talk a little bit about it on the other side. But before we do, if you guys can do me a favor, please hit the like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at CNBC here. Let's go.
Headline in the New York Times this morning: Mnuchin to end some Fed aid programs, limiting Biden's options. Does it limit Biden's options?
Well, again, the options are the options. We have.
All right. So just right off the front, the options are the options. That's not a resounding no. This does not limit his options. This is just the options are the options, kind of like it is what it is. All right. Let's go ahead and continue.
Capacity, whether it's myself or somebody else, these can be reactivated with exchange stabilization funds. And, I just remind you, there were a lot of people, on the Democratic side who questioned giving me $500 billion that I could, quote, do with whatever I want. So I find it kind of ironic now that I'm being prudent in returning the money to Congress like I'm supposed to, that people are questioning that. But again, we want Congress to reappropriate this money, and we got plenty of capacity left if we need to use it. And this has been a great success story. Look at where the markets were in March. Look at where they are now. Companies like Boeing that we thought were going to be able to have to borrow from the government went and borrowed tens of $billions in the public markets.
Secretary Mnuchin, it's David Faber. You're making cogent arguments I think many people would agree with. But we live in a very weird world right now where there are quite a few who see anything that is done in your administration as an attempt potentially to make life as difficult as possible for President Trump's successor, of course, while the president continues to fight the outcome of the election. What do you say to those people? What is the upside here? Is it the return of the money that you keep talking about and the reappropriation of it?
Look, I think this has been a great success story. And what I want people to focus on is, Chair Powell and I and the Fed and the Treasury, these have worked. And the best part of them working was the mere announcement that we had $500 billion, that we could go do $5 trillion if we needed to. That opened the markets. So the mere announcement, that was the bottom of the market. And as the Fed has always said, these are emergency tools. When the emergency's over, let's put them away.
Right.
Well, the medical emergency may not be over, but I think we'd agree the financial conditions markets the financial conditions are in great shape. Corporate bonds.
All right. So, and this is what's so interesting when you're talking about people who just look at Wall Street and they're not looking at the average Joe. So yeah, the market could look good, but to the average Joe, we're still struggling. And so I guess that could be an argument. If you look at it that way, that could be an argument why we need to repurpose this money, because if the market's doing well, take the money out of the market or take the money from these loan programs that they have for businesses and then repurpose them into stuff like direct payments and enhanced unemployment. However, it's still kind of up in the air. Are they going to be able to do that? And the reason that I'm saying this is because this money, this is from the CARES Act. This was allocated for loans. So the CBO was already anticipating, okay, if this is a loan, then it's going to be repaid. Stimulus checks are not going to be repaid. Enhanced unemployment is not going to be repaid. So you're going to take $455 billion or however much they're talking. I think it's around that number. You're going to take that money from a loan program and put it into stimulus checks or put it into enhanced unemployment. You're not going to get the same return. So if you have senators that don't want to do another stimulus package, this is not going to really push the needle for them because they're going to look at it and say, well, the money initially, we were going to be getting a return on that money. But now we've changed this whole situation where we're not going to get a return on the money. So they might still not be willing to move forward with it. So it's going to be interesting to see how they work that out. All right, let's go and continue.
funds have come in, municipals have come in, mortgages have come in, the stock market has rebounded. And, I'm hopeful because we have been a very good steward of this money and these tools that down the road, whether it's 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now, that there's needs to use these tools, that Congress will have the same confidence in future Treasury secretaries and Fed chairs as they've had in us.
Yeah.
And again, I would just highlight, the law is very clear. The intent was this part of it expires in December. Let's go use this money for things in parts of the economy that need it. We don't need this money to buy corporate bonds. We need this money to go help small businesses that are still closed or hurt, no fault of their own, or people who are going to be on unemployment and unemployment is running out.
All right. So that was the end there. Now, I understand what he's saying, and I'm thinking that this is in good faith. Yes, let's go ahead and take this money and repurpose it. But my only problem is, what if we don't get a stimulus package until next year? So now you've undercut, because these programs had normal expiration dates in December, like he was saying. So now you've undercut that. You've jumped ahead. So you essentially, the Federal Reserve is sending the money back now instead of waiting until they normally expire. But if we don't have a stimulus package in December and we have to wait until January, late January or February, well, now you have that gap there. So what is the urgency to go ahead and take care of that now, instead of trying to negotiate something first, another stimulus package first, and say, hey, you know what? We can go ahead and have that Federal Reserve money sent back at that time, once they've come to some type of an agreement with another stimulus package, and then move forward. Because what you're doing now is you're going ahead and pulling the money back, and I know what the thought is, probably that they want to say, okay, look, we can increase the number. That top line number could be around $2 trillion now, because we have $455 billion and that we can put towards that. Plus we have another 100 and something billion that's already sitting there that they can put towards the next stimulus package. But I mean, why not get that negotiated first? You know that money is in reserve. It can still sit at the Federal Reserve. Why does it need to come over right now? That's my question. So it just seems a little bit strange. Why can't they wait until the normal expiration date and continue negotiating? This could be a good way to negotiate, where you're negotiating, you know there's an expiration date. You know how politicians are. They like to ride up to that deadline and then get something done. So this might be a good way to negotiate. Right up to the expiration date and then see if you can move forward with something. Or if you get something negotiated and done before then this is a perfect opportunity for you to say, okay, look, we can take this $455 billion, agree upon that, and then send it over and then get something done for the American people. But you see how Steven Mnuchin's talking, though. He's talking about the market. The market's doing well. The market's doing well. Well, you have a lot of people that aren't doing well. And so I think that's more of the reason why we need to have a stimulus package. Yes, it worked for Wall Street. This having this money in reserves and all this and these different loan programs worked for Wall Street, but things aren't working for the American people. So that's pretty interesting. I want to know what you guys think, though. What do you guys think about it? Do you think that federal money should just sit there? The Federal Reserve money should just sit there, normal expiration date. Once it expires, then move back to wherever it goes? Or do you think they should pull it right now and start? I mean, you could negotiate without having it moved, is what I'm saying. So what do you think about that? Let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.